All right, we'll get started in a bit. I just want to test my mic a little bit. Can people hear me? If some of you can just message on the chat, that'll be great. Great, thanks, Animesh. All right, cool. So, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us again today. My name is Chippy Dayak. I lead the design team at Ionics Technologies. This is part two of our series of webinars that we've been doing in the um, brokerage space, designed for the brokerage space. We want to bring you these little short discussions that throw light on specific, design topics. Today, we are going to take a look at menu design, as you see on the screen, and how we've approached them in our projects. While we are about to begin the presentation, I'd like to mention that all the interfaces showcased today are designed by our team of designers for various customers of ours. And while there might be a lot of ways in which menu design can be approached, today we are showcasing the ones that we have already done. Great. So before we get started, I'd like to share a little bit about our company. We are a software solutions company, and we've been in the fintech space for about 8 years now. Apart from fintech, we're also in the spaces of healthcare, learning and coaching, Web3, and a few more as well. But fintech is our largest domain. As you see, the fintech space is rapidly evolving and growing, and there are a lot of players that have come into this area. And we're also excited to see, what's happening in this domain as we are building technology solutions here. And the fintech teams in our company are constantly looking and discovering new things every week. Regulations and more compliance requirements. With the fluctuating markets, a large number of traders are flocking in and out. And we listen very keenly to our customers as to how their businesses are being impacted by these, and therefore what we can do from the technology side as well. As newer asset categories are introduced, our technology needs to be equipped as well with these changes. And as far as our designers are concerned, it's an exciting time. Um, our older and traditional UI needs some kind of rule breaking and newer exploration. So, to make complex trade related tasks simple, beautiful, and delightful is where we come. And we, as in, I mean, the Ionics Design Studio comes. And with that, we'll get started. Okay, in the previous webinar, we dove into these aspects to keep in mind while we are designing for brokerage. I'll just do a little recap of it before we move to today's area of discussion. So there are 5 points that we saw last time. We are designing for the users, not particularly the end customers with respect to in the brokerage space. Now, users have to follow organizational rules, and design can enable that adherence. And efficiency is topmost priority, and more importantly, it can be measured using certain design principles and metrics, and how to go about that. And large volume of data comes into play. And last time we saw how optimal use of real estate and things like that become a challenge, and ways to work with them. And security levels are stricter. Now, today, we are particularly going to look into menu, which is the primary navigation of any platform. Now, the main menu and the sub-menu systems act like a transportation network. They enable the users to access all parts of the platform. A careful and a deliberate design will increase the efficiency of the user. There are roughly about 4 parameters that we're going to do we're going to discuss today, with which design of any menu can be evaluated. And here are they: how prominently visible the system is. How can it tell the user where they are at in the platform? That's important. Now, how simple or complex the interaction is, and its physical state, which is color, texture, text, iconography, and those things. All right. Now, when it comes to visibility, it needs to be in a familiar location. It needs to be airy, that is, each item should be clearly displayed, and the item should draw attention to the viewer so that they are not searching for it while working on a very high density interface, because a lot of brokerage and trade related platforms are packed with a lot of information, data, and it's very, very dense. Now, the same rules apply to the submenu as well. It needs to pop up, it needs to be very clear and prominent. Now, here's another example of a trading platform that was designed for a novice user. Now, this customer of ours wanted to build a platform to encourage the older population to get into crypto trading. If you look at the menu on the top over here on the screen, the primary task area is below and they don't interfere with each other, and yet they have a clear and equal visual weightage. So the user can work with the task area below, which is buying and selling of stocks, and the menu is uninterfering and yet prominent. But when it came to the admin portal of the exact same platform, we stuck to the, sort of a traditional menu on the left to accommodate more items to come and to be managed by in the future by the admins of the company. Now, speaking of visibility, the menu should always be available, right, for the user, so that it's a place where they go to navigate to different parts of the platform. Now, are there any cases where we can hide them? Turns out there are some. In some contexts, they can be. This is a platform for a specific user group. Here, the task is to get them onboarded who were otherwise reluctant to try their hands at crypto trading. So during onboarding, we wanted to keep them focused on their profile creation. So our designers hid everything from the interface, including the main menu, to get them to focus on the task. At the end of the task, the primary navigational system will reappear. A little unconventional, but we tried it. Now, this was a redesign of an already functional trading interface for one of our customers. So they just wanted to give it a lift, a better visual look and feel. Here, the primary navigation for the user is to simply switch between two states. One is a simple trade, and the other one is packed with data where they can do a more informed trading. So if you see that toggle button on the top, so that's where the switching happens. Now, technically, this is not considered a menu in the traditional sense, but yes, that is the primary navigation system in this particular case. Now, the secondary navigation system falls somewhere below that graph that you see. The secondary navigation here is visited less than the actual buying and selling that is happening on this interface. So the orders, the history, the portfolio management, etc., are placed beneath this main task, prioritized by the order of frequency. Sorry, one second. All right, yes. Now, affordance is that property of a design element that tells the user how to interact with it in either an intuitive way or sometimes by the principle of familiarity from the analog world. So if you see a button, it tells you to click it. If you see a slider, it tells you to drag it. So it's a bridge between the analog and the digital world, you can say that. Now, a good use of affordance in the menu makes it easier for user to navigate a complex platform. You can get creative here without worrying about standardized way of designing a menu. Remember how you assist your users to access different parts of your platform makes your platform and therefore your business unique. Good or a bad design is also contextual. Our team has put together a few polls and we would like you all to participate. Let's just take a 10-second break for this poll, if that okay. Just participate on the poll and then we'll resume the webinar. Okay, let's continue. The second aspect that we saw was the menu acting as a location indicator. This is the second most important function of the navigational system. It lets the user know where they are at in the portal. It acts like a map. Now, it should tell the user it's like you are here. So that is provide them with a sense of length and breadth of the portal, an idea of where they are at now, and how they can go to another location to do a different set of tasks. Now, here is this is a post-trade settlement portal. It's an example. The user's eye can follow the blue highlights from the left main menu on the left to know where they are, and the breadcrumb on the top tells them how they got there. Now, there might be different ways to get to a particular page, which is indicated by the breadcrumb, but the menu system is supposed to act like a location marker or a map. Here's another example. So previously we saw how the user followed the blue text. And here, instead of following a color, here the weight of the highlighted breadcrumb itself acts like a marker. So when it comes to interaction, here's what we recommend. This is the place where we think you should stick to the rules, which is minimize animation as much as possible, stick to sticky menus. Um, the menu locations cannot change on different screens. Uh, Absolutely avoid hover activated drop downs. They are a big distraction for the user and they can be really frustrating. Now, we also recommend our lead designers to work with our customers to study what are all the most frequently accessed features of the pages to kind of take it into consideration for the menu design. They will be helpful to order them or cluster the items in a certain way, or sometimes we can also introduce some fun features with this data. Okay, so here is a case where the same user accesses an investor portal as well as an employee stock plan portal. So they have two different portals, and both these portals have a considerable volume of data sets that are shared between these portals. And the backend is also designed in such a way. So sure, we could have built two different portals and two different access for these two for the users, and we can look at combining the interfaces, which means the menu will have to look different to accommodate the combination. There are few menu items like accounts, activity logs, etc., that are common to both the portals, and there are others that are specific to each of these portals. Here, our designers explored what they call a split menu to accommodate this um, combination. So items that are common to both are listed below as a separate menu if you look at the interface. And the ones that are specific to the individual portals are listed above, grouped together under the portal's name. And there's a toggle button there where the user can switch between both the portals. All right, there's another poll coming up right now. So let's take another 10-second break for you guys to attend the poll. Great, I think we can resume the presentation now. Um, all right, cool. So here, handling frequency. So with the frequency study that I mentioned a few minutes ago, here's something that our team had done previously for another customer of ours. They had created a shortcut to frequently or recently accessed pages. You might have seen this UI in many places. Now, this sort of forms a custom menu system for different users in the system to be able to get to the pages that they need to quickly. Sure, it's a feature that was introduced for a specific use case. Um, Soon the design progressed, and we watched this pattern emerge, the need for this pattern to occur in different places. And now it emerged into a separate navigational system throughout the suite of products for this particular customer. Now it was so repeatable that we had to introduce it into the UI library as well. So, like I said, you can create very interesting navigational systems when you collect more and more data as to how the users, use and work. But where do we place these sub-navigational systems or things or the new features that you come up with on an interface on an already dense screens? Now, here's where the classic old Fitts law comes to our aid. It simply says, Fitts law simply says that the time to move to a target and how big the target is governs the efficiency of the task. Now, if you look at this particular screen, about 2/3 of the tasks, which is in the central, that happens in the central area, is closer to the top right part of the real estate. So that seems to be the most optimal location for introducing this sub-navigational system. Now, these decisions may seem small. Do we have to spend so much time in making these decisions? Yes, even though they seem very small. But when you look at it from several hours of a user's, using this interface and working on these interfaces, they will make a big difference in terms of efficiency and also some amount of fatigue reduction. So we've been designing products and platforms in the brokerage and the trading space for a while now. And we've tried different kinds of menus, as you saw, the top, bottom, left, and then there's some kind of sub-navigational system that's happening on the top right. Um, we followed standards for some of those, and we've broken rules for some of those. And sometimes our customers are very particular about how they want it. And some few of our customers ask us what is the best way to go about it, and they're open to trying new things. So through all these experience, this is what we recommend. Um, for the lack of a better term, I'm just calling it a diagonal separation. It's no industry term. So the primary task happens here at the center, and it needs to take a larger part of the real estate. And the navigational system falls into this inverted L or a triangle, forming about 1/5 of the screen area, and a distinct visual element like a highlighted color for the users to follow to kind of know where they are at in the entire portal system. So the blue lines are doing that over here. So if we were to build a new post-trade application for somebody, we would probably use these as rules as of now, because in our experience, this seems to be the most efficient out of the lot that we have tried and explored. Coming to color, text, and iconography. So this was actually a study done by Nielsen and Norman as to how to best use these visual indicators. There's an article that I've linked to this study by the Nielsen and Norman group. At the end of this webinar, I think the deck will also be shared with all of you, so you can take a look at it in case you've not seen this study before. So using text only to list the menu items was the least effective, and it reduced the efficiency by almost 57% when compared to what they thought was a best performing condition. What they tested, not they thought. Now, text and icon together did better than merely text. Icon only was slightly better than text only design. However, there are some challenges with icons. We've done it too. If you look at the first design, the one with the white menu, we did it for somebody before. And while testing it, we found out that the icons are not very easily recognizable for the kind of menu items that we have in the brokerage or the trading space. Now, they are not universally recognized iconography. Users may end up guessing, and it can lower the efficiency of how they are going about doing it. So like even the learning curve for a new user to get used to the interface will increase quite a bit. Now, we want the menu to be non-ambiguous, and we want the menu system to be a strong location marker and not really a picture book, which is otherwise people believe that icons are better than text. That may not be true in a lot of cases. I just wanted to highlight on that. So we recommend to go with text and icon and with some color variation. Now, with or without color variation, it does not make too much of a difference, but yeah, text and icon together is probably the way to go when it comes to designing the menu system. All right. Thanks for joining us today, and I hope you like the set of principles that we put together. You can try using these principles to kind of evaluate if you have a product or a platform that you already have, um, and it's up and running. You can try and evaluate it. I can assure you, you can do it in less than a day. And but, however, if you want to want us to take a look at it, we are happy to do it. You can schedule a review call with me for the next 2 weeks. Um, you will be shared, and the link on your on the email that is going to be sent out. But I'm also sharing the link over here. We will. You can book a calendar time with me, and we can take a look at your menu. All right, so we believe that design has the potential to change the course of your business. It can also be a spokesperson too. So thanks for joining us today. We will be bringing you more webinars that throws lights on very specific topics like this. So stay tuned. We will announce our next webinar soon. In the meanwhile, if you'd like to know more, or if you want to get in touch with us for any general query, you can write to me or our team. Uh, so let us know. Can we go to Q&A? Thanks, Andrea. Thanks, Maria, for joining us. Oh, there's somebody who's asking how to sign up for the rest of the series. So we will announce when the series is scheduled. It will. You can find us on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. You will be able to, and if you've registered for this one, you'll definitely get a invite. The Our team will send you an email as to when the next series is happening. Yeah, the part one can will be mailed to you. Okay, here's somebody who's asking, how do you prioritize which menu items will appear by default and which to stick into a more bucket? And should there be more bucket, does that indicate something is wrong with the application's um, navigational structure? Usually, I would think that a more option is given when there are a lot more menu items to be included, um, but the real estate isn't enough. Um, I You order it in terms of priority, right? Either by frequency, uh, um, or how frequent a user access a particular menu item goes on the top or on the first, and the less frequently visited pages can go into the more bucket. And other way that I could think of, see, all of these things are very contextual. So there, I wouldn't say that this is a generic rule and everybody can follow it and you will be fine. No, it doesn't work like that. So another way I can think of to answer this question is, you can cluster certain menu items into a larger topic, and then you can have fewer menu items and you can list them under that if that is feasible in your particular case. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, so dark mode, light mode, which is the, sorry, I'll read out the question. Which colors work best for background and foreground for navigation? Most of your examples were application in dark mode. What about colors for the light mode? So there isn't a rule that says, dark mode is better or light mode is better. All we'll have to probably take care of is that it has sufficient contrast between the background and the foreground so that it is visible, readable, and there is sufficient affordance. Like I said, the user should know how to interact with it. So as long as those fundamental things are taken care of, I think light or dark really doesn't matter. But yeah, interesting that you brought this up. A lot of our designers are in the dark mode for our customers, and I think that is probably because of their preference. So yeah, no, I would be very happy to do a light mode design. Do we have more questions? Should icons be more detailed or more simple? Finance icons are difficult to source. Most of them turn out to be complex looking. Mm. Yeah, I resonate with this problems. We also have similar challenges while doing it. Uh, the icon should be detailed, or should it be minimal, or should it be very minimal? Is the brand's call, I would think. And uh, so, for example, we showed you a particular example for which is a trading platform for the older population to use. So for that, we would use a much simpler icon. That's what we used in the system. Um, but when icons get too detailed, it also becomes very difficult for people to understand what is what. And more than whether it is detailed or it is to be simple, I think the problem is, are they recognizable for finance? For example, account management, and then you have portfolio. How there are no universal standards that indicate that these are the icons for these terms. So that becomes the challenge. So I I would say go with either, but ensure that you have text that accompanies this. Do you have recommendation for icon libraries or make custom icons? Um, I don't have a recommendation on top of my head right now, but we can send a mail to you if that's okay. Um, we do make some of the icons custom, because when we get icons from an icon library, it may not really represent um, the terms that we wanted to represent. So sometimes we make variations, and you might not also get the exact style. So we'll probably have to make modifications to it. So we do a variety of things to kind of bring it together into one common design language. All right. So Maria says, when there are a lot of information in a table, what font size do you recommend using, minimum or maximum? And is it possible to combine different font sizes in one table? Um, I don't know how to answer this question. Yeah, you can combine different font sizes in one table, depending on where do you want to throw the visual weight at. Um, what font size do I recommend for the table? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question, but I can check and get back to you on that one, Maria. Well, thanks for joining us, Janaki. All right. So if there are no more questions, let's wrap up today's session. Thanks for joining us, guys, and I hope to see you all on the next webinar.